Alright, Tribute to the Peace, Noon Science, in War Times. Alright, this is going to be a lot to diverge. Alright, so we're dealing with the second writer. Written as Asa Nupu. However, I discovered something else dealing with this word, and this is why the first video that we're going to do is going to tackle it as Asa Nupu, and then we'll revert back to Asa Nupu. All right, so I said this to Google. Next question. The second writer is Asa Nupu. Is there a sounding word for Asa in ancient Kemet language? Google responds, yes. There's a precise sound and corresponding words for Asa in the ancient Kemet language, but it requires a very specific linguistic adjustment because ancient Egyptians did not write vowels. When analyzing the word phonetically, ASA, it breaks down to two specific consonants in standard Kemet transliteration. Author rendered as Asha or Asha by linguists. In the Kemet language, this exact sequence forms a highly powerful root word with several important meanings. All right. So just want y'all to know we're using Noon as a basic standard and then sound right reason to help us guide and figure out what's right from wrong. All right, so direct meaning to be multiplied, abundant. To most common and direct translation of the phonetic root Asa or Asha is a verb and adjective that means to be many, to be abundant, or to multiply. The principle of abundance. It represents an overflow on vast amount of something. The concept of greatness, when applied to a person or entity, denotes someone who is great in number, magnificent, or frequent. The Gardener's List categorization, section 1, reptiles. If you were to write out the word Asa in authentic Kemet hieroglyphs that represent all three underlying consonant sounds at once, the hieroglyphic sign is a lizard. Gardener catalog number 11. I think this is I1, if I'm not incorrect. All right, the hieroglyphic sound, a lizard. Gardener catalog number I1, the very first entry in the section 1, reptiles and amphibians. All right, this is the lizard symbol for Asa. Dominating the land, third of evolution, were animals like canines, dogs, felines, cats, pachyderms, elephant, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, bovines, antelope, gazelle, the gnu, serpents, lizards, alligators, underground animals, etc. And the human beings known as the Ethiopian Phoenician, which are the Arabs, and the Indian races, okay, like East Indians and things like that. Let it be remembered. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 137 in part. This section of time of evolution was 6 million years ago. Following is the section after Unudru. All right, so where the Ethiopian races beginning of evolution, but the part where it's talking about humans of fire and gases and things like that, this will be the third part of evolution. All right. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 7. Why lizard? Ancient Kemet scribes chose the lizard to represent the sound of Asa or Asha because lizards were found everywhere in the desert sands in massive numbers. Therefore, the lizard became the ultimate symbol for abundance and multiplicity. Bringing the two writers together, Nupu and Asa Nupu, when you place Asa Nupu alongside Nupu, you get a highly authentic, beautifully balanced pair of masculine titles in strict Kemet cosmological context. Nupu equals the first singular voice of the primordial void. Asa Nupu equals the abundant multiplied form of that primordial void. And this pairing will represent the initial singular activation of the chaotic waters, while Asa represents that exact same primordial energy multiplying, expanding, and populating the universe. I asked Google, does Asa have a connection to the deity Geb or planet Earth? Within strict Kemet grammar and mythology, Asa has a massive, undeniable connection to the deity Geb and the planet Earth. When you look at the foundational the fundamental nature of the earth god Geb, the concept of Asa is actually embedded right into his cosmic purpose. Side note, I asked you because I wanted to connect Asa Nupu, the second writer, with Gipu, the second writer of Introduction to Nature, who were one and the same. Here's that evidence. So you go to the nature books and introduction, it talks about the star representative, also known as Ripu, the sun, then the planet representative, also known as Gipu, the earth, satellite representative, also known as Sipu, the moon. Gipu means the earth in Noon science, aka the earth god Geb. This is who Asa Nupu represented. Asa Nupu's birth name was Arthur Simmons, rest in power, who co-authored the Bible interpretation and explanation books 1 and 2 and the noun book accounts 1 through 4. Within strict Kemet grammar and mythology, Asa has a massive undeniable connection to the deity Geb and the planet Earth. Oh, okay, this is restating, sorry about that. All right, the linguistic connection, the abundant earth. As a vocabulary word, Asa means to be abundant, to multiply, or to be many. In Kemetic cosmology, Geb is not just dirt, dry dirt. He is the god of fertility, vegetation, and harvest. Ancient temple texts frequently describe the physical earth as being Asa, meaning overflowing with crops, minerals, and life. Scribes often pair the concept of Asa directly with the land of Geb to praise a pharaoh or a good season, writing that the harvest was abundant or multiplied upon the back of the earth. The title Asa Rendu, abundant in names, there's a direct theological link between the sound Asa and the high cosmic deities like Geb and Amun. Ancient Egyptians used a specific lyrical phrase, Asa Reno, meaning abundant in names, rich in names. The nature book said it is true that the end of evolution brings new words and new names, as well as new cycles. Members of the Ethiopian race may be called pitch novas. Members of the Phoenician, it's looked to the nature, book 1, page 212 and part. The new cycle began February 5th, 1962, within the Grand Conjunction. It is when the new names of the Nubi Rakapata, Wu Nupu, Asa Nupu, and Naba Nupu. Okay, I mispronounced. I put the B instead of the P. Naba Nupu became available to the public. Because Geb represented everything physically created on earth, every mountain, every snake, every plant, and every rock, he was considered a deity of endless forms, calling a scribe or creative figure. Asa Nupu heaven implies he who multiplies the forms of earth. The animal symbols, reptiles and creeping things, the hieroglyphic signs for both Asa and Geb belong to the exact same visual family on the gardener's list. Asa is written with the lizard. Geb is mythologically known as the father of snakes and is frequently depicted with a snake head or snakes crawling out of him. Both symbols belong to section 1, reptiles and amphibians. Scribe chose these specific animals because they live directly in the dirt. Geb and multiplied in vast, uncountable numbers. The dynamic between the two writers. Looking at your two figures, Wu Nupu and Asa Nupu, through a purely planetary and cosmological lens creates a perfect mythological story, which that's not what I'm trying to do. All right. Wu Nupu represent the primordial waters, Nu, which is really Noon. It's not waters back then. It was no elements together for that. It was frequency. So we know that the Egyptologists and whoever else are calling it water when it wasn't water at first. Before the earth existed, he is cosmic blueprint, the dark void, and see in the first vibration. So it brings it clear here. And we know that vibrations and frequencies are the one and the same. Water is something that comes in after elements are brought into play. And the chaotic state of almighty nature would be pre those elements, because elements represent order. So if elements are, when atoms are thrown all over the place, that means there's nothing there to bring forth, hydrogen, helium, and stuff like that. Elements represent order. All right. Nupu represents the primordial water before the earth existed. Okay, Asa Nupu represents the physical earth. He takes that raw primordial energy and multiplies it into physical matter, creation, soil, and abundance. All right. Actually, the sun does all of that. When the sun is self-created and self-grown, it then takes the chaotic matter that's around itself out of the chaotic matter that was pre the making of the stars and all of that. The sun does all of that and puts the planet together, all of that. All right, what is the divine side of the lizard amphibians in ancient Kemet? In ancient Kemet cosmology, lizards and amphibians are not viewed as simple pests. They represent the force of raw creation, solar rebirth, and the boundary between the unmanifested void and physical life. Because these creatures exist where water meets land, they are viewed as deeply divine symbols. The lizard basket is solar rebirth. The lizard is heavily linked to the ultimate creator and solar deity Atum.
Before gods, before time, there was Atum, a god who created himself from nothing. Alone in the endless waters of none, Atum rose from the abyss with no parents, no origin. He willed himself into being, pure divine force, pure creation. From his own body, Atum created Shu, the air, and Tefnut, the moisture. These two gave birth to the sky and the earth, Geb and Nut. From this divine family came the gods of order, chaos, and life itself. Atum wasn't just a god. He was the universe maker and matter, God and world. The Egyptians called him the Complete One, the father of all gods. Even Ra, the sun god, was believed to be Atum at sunset. He represents the cycle of creation and return the eternal source. Atum's story isn't just myth, it's the oldest version of existence itself. A god with no beginning, who created gods with his will alone. So what if everything began with one god dreaming the universe into life? This is just one god in a pantheon of forgotten power.
Solar manifestation. Scribes observed lizards motionless in the desert soaking up the early morning sun rays. They believe lizards were directly worshiping the sun or acting as physical vessels for Atum as he warmed the world. So a lot of this is symbolic. And a lot of people think that our ancestors were viewing things like that. The truth of the matter is, we come from our ancestors that was born knowing. And when we got to evolution, we started to slowly lose knowledge of what was, and that's because nature moves in opposite. So when the monkey type man started gaining intelligence, and we finished and we start educating them as they followed us around the planet, that is what happened. The transference of our intelligence eventually over millions of years caused us to become what you see now, where we look like we believe that people are born ignorant and then they learn knowledge. That was not the case when it came to us. So whether the Caucasian know that or not, that is the actual factual. Okay, of course there's learning even with our ancestors, but they were born knowing. Kind of like when you see certain animals in down here where they're born knowing how to walk, kind of take care of themselves, stuff like that. But when it came to our ancestors, it was more divine. It was more important. All right, and supernatural. All right, regeneration of wealth. Lizards possess the unique ability to shed and fully regrow their tails. This made them potent symbols of regeneration and bodily resurrection. In the late period, priests mummified lizards in beautifully cast bronze boxes as votive offerings to bring the donor divine wealth and prosperity. The divine connection summary. It's just giving you a summary, which we all went through this. Lizards, multiplicity, abundance, cosmic purpose, basking in solar warmth, cellular regeneration, associated deity Atum, solar creator. The frog, millions and endless renewals, because the frog represents millions of years. Okay, so When you get into Noon Science and start looking at the book, you'll start being able to see that Afro Uno explained those symbols and gave you numbers and meanings and terms that we forgot through time. All right, spontaneous life from more protective midwifery. Again, this is like brain nukes. They're spontaneous. All right, from the chaotic frequencies. You got Heket in the octawave. Remember, all these things represent time. That's why when you look at the octawave, they have names like eternity and infinity and all of that. So this right here doesn't necessarily represent just a frog. It actually represents time. And our ancestors wouldn't have used these things millions of years, and they used the planets as well as interchangeable. So our ancestors knew. Okay, stop listening to these dummies in the unconscious community that want you to believe that you was born dumb and you came from a monkey in order to make them feel like their Caucasian choice has been right and exact. All right, they're lying to you. All right, so I asked this: how does NOOPOOH and the quail chick and the coil Z7 fit in with Atum? Saying that NOOPOOH represents the first in the books authored by him and others. Talking about Amenubi Rakapata, aka Afro Uno. Google responded, connect the NOOPOOH to Atum through the quail chick.
Today's hieroglyph is the quail chick. It represents the sound ooh. This tiny bird appears in countless ancient Egyptian words, making it one of the most common hieroglyphs. You'll find it carved into temples, painted on papyrus, and written in royal inscriptions.
G43 in the heretic coil, Z7 creates a perfect loop in chemic creation theology. In Kemetic cosmology, Atum is the ultimate first. He is the self-created creator god who existed alone inside the dark primordial waters of Nu before anything else was made. When you break down the visual and grammatical nature of the Wu symbols, they perfectly explain the exact moment Atum wakes up and creates the universe. Listen to reason. The true spiritual science of the African race is called Noon. Noon was already mentioned in these writers, and for the benefit of the listening audience and reading public again, Noon is definitely spelled N-O-O-N-E, not N-U or N-U-U-N, all right? And pronounced Noon. Noon is the science of sound right reason, which is what? The philosophy and mind of the what? Original creator called NOOPOOH, the first emanation of the one supreme being. All right, so here, the ancients was called a NOOPOOH Atum as a singular. All right, but NOOPOOH is the original. Another word for original is what? The first. All right. Transcript of audio tape number 19, page 8 in part. Listen to reason. The Eastern and scientific name of the writer of this book is who? Afro Uno. Pronounced Afro Uno. Of course, Afro means pertaining to Africa, African or African descent, and the word and name Uno means number one or what? First to be resurrected again. And we're talking about mental resurrection, not religion, where they're talking about physical. That's impossible. All right, unless you're dealing with demonic forces that deals with necromancy. Outside of that, this is referring to mental resurrection. So what I would back up into Atum is the ultimate first. So Afro Uno name means first. So this, once again, this disqualifies York, because York was using that name Atum in the late 90s. All right, so York doesn't talk like this and never taught any of this. All right, this is how you destroy lies with correct information. By using known science, it's clear that Atum is NOOPOOH in the beginning of existence. Then after 72 million years, NOOPOOH and Afro Uno are awakened together. Y'all need to keep this in mind. NOOPOOH and Afro Uno are awakened together. You're gonna see why. NOOPOOH was born in the mind of Afro Uno, and then after he turns 36 years old, they NOOPOOH make themselves known through mental contact. From there, books are written over time, 1962 to 2007. Both years equal to 9. I asked Google, What does text say about mental contact during any of these dynasties, preferably the oldest text, myth otherwise? Because Alpha Nupu told us that sometimes you have to look into the mythology sometimes, because that's what the truth is hidden at as well. All right. That's what the mystery schools are set up for them to tell you the truth of the myth. Google responds, in the oldest dynasty of Kemet, ancient Egypt, text described mental contact with the divine not as a voice in the head, but as the merging of the ruler's mind with the cosmic intellect of the gods. See, Alpha Nupu just said that. All right. We're gonna get into that real deep. All right, and this is why I mentioned this. All right. They place their own thoughts, wisdom, and vision directly inside the ruler's heart. All right. Here are some examples of mental contact from ancient Kemet. The ultimate text regarding divine mental contact is the what? Memphite theology, preserved on the Shabaka stone. While the stone itself was carved later, the text stated it was copied from a worm-eaten papyrus dating back to the earliest dynasties, the heart and tongue. This text explains that the creator god Ptah created the universe using his mind.
Before light, before chaos, there was only silence. Then Ptah spoke. Pa wasn't just any god. He was the divine architect, the god of craftsmen and creation. He didn't mold the world with hands. He spoke it into existence. The heart conceived it. The tongue gave it life. Thought and speech his tools. Even the gods followed his word Ra, Thoth, and Atum answered his command. To the ancient Egyptians, Ptah wasn't just a god. He was the first thinker. His temple in Memphis was the spiritual heart of Egypt, the place where creation began. Even the name Egypt, Hut, Ka, Pa, means house of the soul of Ptah. He was the god of artisans, architects, blacksmiths. Every act of making was sacred. Unlike gods of war or vengeance, Ptah created with intellect and intention. He whispered the cosmos into order, a voice echoing through time, forgotten by many. But Ptah's legacy lives in every design, every creation, every idea. The god who didn't just make the world, he imagined it. What if creation isn't just power, but thought made real?
How it works. The text states there took shape in the heart, that took shape on the tongue. In Kemet, the heart was the literal organ of thought, mind, and intent. Ptah thought of the world in his heart and mind, and spoke it with his heart, mind in parentheses, and spoke it with his tongue. The ruler's connection, because the pharaoh was the living image of Ptah on earth, his mental contact was the activation of this process. The gods would plant an idea in the pharaoh's heart. The pharaoh would then speak it, making it law on earth exactly how Ptah created the universe. And you can see an example of this in the so-called Moses story, when God told Moses, I'm gonna put in Pharaoh's heart not to let the people go, even though that was not true. The actual Pharaoh of that time of the Exodus is Ahmose the first, who actually was born with the Hyksos, or who we call them the small hats today, and ran them up out of them. That's in the 18th dynasty. All right. The divine oracle. Rulers routinely went before the statues of Amun-Ra or Ptah. The text states that the god would nod or send a rush of divine energy into the ruler's heart, giving them the exact military strategy or temple blueprint needed. The Memphite theology, the Shabaka stone. This text is the ultimate source of how the god Ptah transmits divine consciousness. It explicitly states that the king's internal guidance is a reflection of Ptah's universal mind. The text explains how physical senses feed the heart and mind, which then commands the tongue. The ancient inscription, the sight of the eyes, the hearing of the ears, and the smelling of the air by the nose, they present to the heart, the mind, and it is the tongue that repeats what the heart thinks. The Ennead of Ptah, or 9, however, is the teeth and lips in this mouth which pronounce the name of everything. So here, when you go into Noon, we know that the Ennead are the sun and the 8 planets. Pluto is not a planet. And they're saying that they are the teeth and lips in this mouth, which means that all those orbs, right, they had part to play in not only what happened on planet Earth, but also with each other in the beginning, because there's life on all of those orbs, and they intervene in each other's lives of the beings that's within them. Okay. All right. These attributes are regarded as being two of the divine attributes of every king. All right. So here in the nature book, it says what? In the temples of Tar, pronounced Par or Tar, which possessed what? The Memphite theology, the philosophy of what? Creation, the knowledge of nature, and the science of well-being. That is to say, the metaphysics of absolute nature. So here, a lot of people who read or read the Memphite theology, they don't know that all this stuff is in here. They call it a theology because, you know, that's what religion is, and people of today may call it. But Asa Nupu said it's the philosophy of creation. So that means it's a teaching. Then he said the knowledge of nature. And we know that nature is more than the elements and the seasons. Nature in Noon is all space, all matter, and all time, which is the one supreme being. So when you see us use nature, we're talking about everything. This is what nature reasoning means as well. One who sees by almighty nature. That means we see that we are part of the one supreme being. All right, and that we know that it has many members and parts. Okay. All right. Nature Book 2, page 130 and part. These Caucasian Greeks, Jews did learn about natural law and order. So when you talk about natural law, you're talking about the laws of the universe and its order, not these dummies talking about natural selection, and they don't want to acknowledge that if something can select and choose, then it has to have intelligence to do so. And it's not just random things happening. All right, and we know that natural goes back to nature, and nature goes back to the Kemet term netta. All right, so natural selection is what you should be calling it. And you got these dummies trying to tell y'all, following mentally dead Caucasian religionists who became anti-religionists, became atheists and all of that, because they couldn't understand the real deal Holyfield. Right? Nature Books 2, page 133 and part. The Simna Stele of Senusret III, 12th dynasty. This text offers an example from the Middle Kingdom of Pharaoh, explicitly claiming that his physical actions are the exact manifestation of what the God plans inside his mind. The ancient inscription, I am a king who speaks and accomplishes. What my mind, heart plans is what takes place through my action. One who does not sleep with their matter on his mind. The Victory Stela of Pi, 25th dynasty. Or Pianki, a Cushite pharaoh. So this is one of us. All right, this is a woolly-haired pharaoh here who restored order to Egypt. That's because the people who was there ruling was the Phoenician Arabs. Them was the people who invaded after the 6th dynasty. We was constantly getting into it with them. They was black skinned with straight hair. This is why people keep getting confused when they see dark images on some of these dynasty pictures, and they assuming that that's us. No. All right. Left a massive record explaining that his military maneuvers and decisions were not his own, but were placed directly into his heart by the supreme God Amun-Ra. The ancient inscription, it is Amun who commanded me. He has placed his wisdom within my heart so that I know that which he wishes to happen, which he says to my mind, is what come to pass. All right, once again, this disqualifies York, because York said he was contacted by Yanun outside his body in 1970, and then prior before that, he claimed that he was visited in 1945.
Upon arrival here, Ethricles has been at in 1970, and the taking of the control of this body, of this individual that was 25 years old, not of much use to us.
According to historical man for Planet Risk. York, this is coming out of this book. I'm a being from the 19th galaxy called Ilion. he automatically daggered himself right there. It's over. We have been coming to this planet before it had your life form, and this had nothing to do with Kemet and why this dummy was walking around here calling himself Egyptian names, and none of the Kemet talks about stuff outside the universe. They so dumb. I'm an entity and etheric being. We watched the other cycles of 18,000 years. I'm gonna deal with this 18 at a later date. 2 moons and 1 sun, which is part of your 24,000 year equinox. Once again, when you're talking about the sun cycle, the moon cycle, they're not back to back. It's sun cycle first, 6,000 years, moon cycle second, 6,000 years, and it alternates. There's no 2 moons and 1 sun, because for him to get to this, it'll be 4 cycles. But he's mentioning 24, but 6 times, but what is it? 6 times 4 is right. 6 times 4 is 24. So it had to been a sun cycle first, a moon cycle, sun, then moon. So for him to throw it another 6,000, he doesn't mention that. So that he now goes from 18, that shows you he don't know how to do math. All right, so then he said, I incarnate into this realm from time to time. My incarnation as an Iltamuttajasset or avatar was originally in the year 1945. What y'all gotta understand, an incarnation and an Iltamuttajasset or avatar is not the same. You can just go and look at the definition. An incarnation is when the spirit being itself enters into the physical person. An Iltamuttajasset or avatar, the Iltamuttajasset is just the Arabic way to say avatar. If you watch the movie Avatar, it shows you human beings mentally put themselves into a body of an alien life form. So the body that you see on the movie Avatar would be the same as that'll be the person, and then the person going inside them, that's just a rough, raw version of it, would be entering that person and controlling them and giving them information. So York is right here having this is a contradiction. You have to be a spirit to incarnate. You can't be the incarnated and the human and the avatar. It don't work like that. All right. So he said, in order to get here, I traveled by one of the smaller pathing trails called Sham. You're right, it was a sham. All right. Then in 1970 AD was my time to come. All right. So when we analyze Asa Nupu Part Afro's writing lines up with ancient Kemet, while York lines up with demonic spirit possession. York has also been disqualified as Alton as well. He was a false flagging and pretending to be everybody else except who he is, a misleader of black people. These are facts. This is him pretending. How you gonna pretend to be a pharaoh from ancient Kemet and an alien from a whole nother location? None of this stuff makes sense. He's an imposter. All right? I took this from Mr. Your Sacred Records of Asa, Book 1. Can this Apophis be overthrown? Yes, Uriel, the great wild priest, will again be prepared by Asa as Tahuti as an old wider Karnak to read from the book of overthrown Apophis, to break his spell and reveal his hidden names, to put out his amplifier in text of the time of Ramesses or the Ramoses, Dynasty 19 or the 46 Dynasty started with. Once again, these was Arabs in the 19th dynasty. That was not us. So once again, listening to a 9th grade dropout is why we got these ridiculous types of books. And nobody challenged this foolishness. I then ran it through Google with a few questions. Was Asa and Tahuti ever conflated together? Google answered, no, Asa and Tahuti were never traditionally conflated together in mainstream ancient Egyptian religion. Instead, they held vastly different roles, distinct roles within Egyptian mythology. In ancient Egyptian history, these two gods were kept strictly separate because they represented entirely different.
Tahuti, another one of our deities. is the messenger of the Neteru, and the personification of divine intellect, thus the patron of learning and literature. He is represented as a man with the head of an ibis bird, which is often crowned by a crescent. This is letting you know that he is a lunar deity, walking with man, although resistance impedes development during the end of a moon cycle, under the sun, rays symbolic of bringing in the sun cycle. And yes, he also was an actual person who existed. So, as you can plainly see from these few examples, all of our great ancestors were human beings, not statues, not animals, not myths, and definitely not just principles. They were human beings that lived, that walked, that talked, that laughed, that cried, that loved, that hate, that hungered, that thirst.
Tahuti the self-created, called Thoth by the Greeks, emerged from the waters of Noon and spoke the sacred word Ko'on that created the world. The Muslims say Ko'on Faya Ko'on. Guess where they stole it from? Tahuti is the Thoth or thought of the Nagaru Negroids, representing knowledge, wisdom and overstanding, encouraging us to stand over the chessboard of life and see the forest through the trees. He reincarnates from age to guide, record and instill knowing to the people. He was in the waters of Noon with our ancestors the Ogdode, guiding our evolution from mermen and mermaids to land-dwelling mammals. He was there with Father Num, relaying the chromosomal formulas to create the first humans on the potter's wheel. He was there in the Garden of Eden with Geb and Nut, relaying the knowledge of the tree of life, holding his staff of the twin snakes, called Kundalini by the Hindus and Caduceus by modern medicine. He assisted Aset, called Isis by the Greeks, teaching her the formulas on how to clone Osiris into Horus and impregnate herself via the god Min. He helped Isis again when Set murdered the boy as a child while they hid in a swamp, recloning or resurrecting the Messiah from the dead. He returns after the battle of Set and Horus, healing them both of their wounds and assisting the elder Neteru in their judgment over whom shall sit on the throne. To the Mesopotamians he is called Ningish-Sita, Lord of the Good Tree. To the Hebrews he is known as Melchizedek, King of Salam, called the City of Peace. To the Christians he is called the Ancient of Days, he who is without mother or father. And the Muslims call him Al-Qidr, the Green One. Green representing the healing his wisdom brings. And yes, he has returned in these days and times, correcting religious misnomers and reminding us of our true way of life, animism, the study of the all in all. His neophytes, called students, affectionately call him Baba Yanun, the good father who emerged from the primordial waters of Noon, who is also Autumn Ray, the first point of light in our resurrection. So we give respect, thanks and adherence to our great ancestor Master Tahuti, who follows us Nagaru Negroids from age to age, ensuring we have the tools to stay on the straight and narrow path as we progress to next level of evolution, from Nagas to gods.
Before Egypt, there was Atlantis. Before there was language, there was vibration. And before there was writing, there was Tahuti, also known as Thoth. To the Dogon of Mali, the great nectar of wisdom. And to the Atlanteans, the Lord of Time. Tahuti wasn't a myth. He was an immortal being, an Anunnaki scientist, architect, and master alchemist sent from the stars to build the foundation of human civilization. Tahuti wasn't from Earth. He descended from the Atlantean lineage, a star civilization that existed long before the last flood. The Atlanteans were an extension of the Anunnaki. Tahuti's from Sirius. He came to Earth as the high priest of the law of one, carrying the codes of creation. His symbol, the ibis, the bird of higher thought, represents his mastery over mind and matter. When Atlantis began to fall due to misuse of power and energy, Tahuti led a group of initiates, the children of light, to Kemet, what we now call Egypt. There he reestablished the Atlantean knowledge, forming the mystery schools of the Neteru, the blueprint of every spiritual system on Earth today. But Tahuti didn't just teach, he built. The pyramids weren't tombs, they were frequency machines. Each one was precisely aligned with the stars, acting as frequency amplifiers that link Earth to higher dimensions. Tahuti was the master architect behind these structures. He encoded the mathematical perfection of the cosmos into stone, phi, pi, and the sacred geometry of life itself. He used sound technology, vibration, frequency, and resonance to levitate massive stones effortlessly. This wasn't something primitive. This was sacred Atlantean science. From Kemet to Mesoamerica, from Nubia to the Indus Valley, his initiates spread across the world, carrying his teachings and building pyramids in his name.
Ata-Ray, he was the supreme creator sun god from the city of Heliopolis. He represented the primeval source of life, completion, and the setting sun. Tahuti, he was the god of wisdom, writing magic, and the moon. These are opposites by nature. Rather than being a creator god, he served as divine scribe, mediator, and keeper of cosmic balance. So York is now lying and saying that a sun god, a creator, the primary first god, who we know was NOOPOOH, he's now saying that Tahuti and them were pretty much the same. How was that? Tahuti is not a creator god. That's foolishness. These are lies. This is from York's Sacred Records of Aten. What does this mean? Question, can this Apophis be overthrown? Yes, and I just repeated what he said. All right, so this is what he said. Just for context, I added this too. Just for context, Yorks are making a prediction as if it was based on Aten past. However, I seriously doubted. Give me your Kemet analysis of why the ancients would either reject or accept this statement. As authentic Kemet ancient Egyptian framework analysis revealed that the ancient priests inscribed to Egypt would overwhelmingly reject York's statement. Your intuition is correct. While York borrows a few real pieces of Kemetic terminology, he mixes them with non-Egyptian names and breaks the strict rules of ancient Egyptian ritual theology and temple hierarchy. Here's a breakdown of why a priest at Karnak would reject this passage. All right, so we're going to come back with part 2, Tremendous Cause of Peace in Wartime.